Okay, so we're recording and it's great that we're starting off with laughs. I like that. Okay, so it is Wednesday, May 24th, and we're here for Agent Enrichment. We've got Michael and Jen here. We have about half the material to cover than we had last month, so that's nice. I won't just be rush reading through. We can kind of go a little slower and have some conversation and really talk about it, because I think that's what's really best anyways. You know, the idea in me sharing these topics is so that you can kind of be thinking about it and figuring out what you're going to put into practice for this next month to try to help you build your business, right? And so this month, we're going to cover how to create name recognition, become the chosen agent, and prepare clients for bad news. We'll start off with 5 make or break factors consumers consider when choosing a real estate agent. And so this was written by Leah Curtis back in April on the 24th. These are all Inman news articles that I'll be reading and that we'll be discussing. So with so many real estate professionals to choose from, what does a consumer look for in an agent when it comes time to buy or sell a home? A new report by RE/MAX, woohoo, explores what's most important to today's home buyers and sellers, from their criteria for choosing a real estate agent to their adaptability for the future. The findings are valuable intelligence. The 2023 RE/MAX Future of Real Estate report helps industry professionals gauge where to prioritize their energy and what skills they can sharpen to provide the best possible source, says Abby Lee, RE/MAX Senior Vice President of Marketing and Communications. Here are 5 factors U.S. consumers identified as important when choosing a real estate agent. Number 1, trust and familiarity. Today's consumers are placing more emphasis on how much they can trust their real estate professional. Multiple factors go into gaining trust, including skills, reputation, and experience. The report reveals that more than half of U.S. consumers think trust and familiarity have become more important factors when choosing a real estate agent over the past year. And I have to say, personally, I am glad to hear this, because this is awesome for those of us that are trying to build our business based on relationships. And then the other thing I want to just remind you is also RE/MAX has earned for multiple years in a row now the most trusted real estate brand, right? So there are social media assets that are just available if you visit the RE/MAX social media sites. They're also within the Photify app and stuff. You might have seen that I've also been sharing them, so you could be sharing those too. There's also that little emblem, most trusted, that we talked about at an office meeting. I think it might have been a couple months ago. That's within Dropbox. So it's within all the RE/MAX stuff, but I've tried to put a lot of stuff on Dropbox so that you don't have to go find it on Mac Center and everything. But you can add that, like I put it on a postcard recently. I've been putting it on some of my marketing too, because especially since we know trust is number 1, then using that little most trusted emblem can help. Any other thoughts on that one? Okay, number 2 is communication. And as Jen knows, I'm always talking about communication. Communication is very important. At least I found to be very important. So it's interesting to see that, yep, apparently U.S. consumers think that too. The importance of communication is heightened in today's rebalancing market, the study shows. I'm constantly in touch with my clients, says Donna Deaton, an agent with RE/MAX Victory and affiliates in Libertytown, Ohio. Whatever their preference of communication is, that's what I'm doing to keep them informed every step of the way. The best agents keep their client informed and involved throughout the transaction. It's important as an agent to communicate with a buyer. For example, to let them know there are several offers on the property they want. If we've given our highest and best and unfortunately we didn't get it, we'll move on to the next one together. And they need to know that from their agent before they see an update online, right? And just like, I know that's a complaint that buyers agents will have with listing agents. You might see it on social media sites. It's like, oh my God, why didn't you let me know before you change the status? So as a listing agent, it's always best to either call, text, or email all the agents that wrote offers and didn't win. Even though, again, it's bad news, it's better that they hear it from you rather than them or their client just seeing the status change to pending inspection or pending. And then that's just one example of communication, but just staying in touch with them throughout the whole process, everything with the inspection, the appraisal, and then when you're just waiting to close at the end, helping them prepare for all of that. Third is good news or good reviews online. Today's consumers don't rely simply on how an agent presents themselves. They want confirmation from other buyers or sellers too. According to the report, good online reviews are becoming even more helpful to today's prospective clients. 49% of U.S. real estate consumers say a personal connection with an agent has become more important over the past year. Consumers in turn would likely be more inclined to meet with an agent after reading about their character through reviews. So as a reminder, we just transitioned to the new KV Core websites. There's within your website setup, you can turn on the client testimonials and then connect it to your Zillow reviews. You also have the ability to manually input ones. Like I know I have some that I received in written format letters over the years, and I haven't had time to input them yet, but I'm going to. The more that you have on your website, the better. And then also just by setting up the testimonials, I noticed up in the top right, how we kind of have those tabs along the top. Well, one of them is something like agent or profile or something. Well, when you do your testimonials, then that'll come up. So it'll be there. And then you can also have it right there on your homepage. So it'll be easy for people to find them.
Set up that way.
Okay, good. And then, because I know you actively work on getting reviews. Where are you at with reviews, Michael?
I only have them on Google.
Oh, okay.
So I'd have to manually input them.
Yeah, you could, or another way to do it would be to go and ask those people to add it to Zillow too.
If they can find me on Zillow.
Okay, well, remember you can create a free profile there.
Yeah.
In fact, you probably already. Oh.
Me too. I hate them.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate them too. And I don't care that this is public. Actually, there's the broker of Zillow. That's exactly.
They've been less than helpful with me. So.
Well, yeah, they've been less than helpful with me too, because I've had people, and so I'm sharing this as a story because it happened to me on both Zillow and Yelp. It does not work for our clients to create an account on either one of those, review us, and then get off, because Zillow or Yelp just won't view that as a legitimate real review. Even though I'm like, my clients specifically create an account to do this, So they have issues. So if you want to avoid Zillow, you could manually input them, but it's just, if you can try to work it out and utilize your free profile, it can be a plus, because people do find us there too. And then the other place too is realtor.com.
Well, they won't acknowledge my license.
Oh, I had that issue with them too.
So then how did you get it resolved?
I can't get a hold of anybody to do it anymore. They gave up like a year and a half ago.
So how did you get it resolved?
It was never.
Oh, but actually, come to think of it, I think I have the same problem in that I keep inputting my license number and it just keeps, and I gave up, but I still have a profile there. So what about you? Are you in the same boat as I am, where it just doesn't have your license number, you're not verified or whatever, but you're still there?
The thing is, they said to fully verify. I remember they said something, typically don't get to it until you pay. Are you talking about Zillow, right? You pay for leads. That's what
Oh.
I was like,
Yeah, that could be a part of the process. Right, yeah, and those leads are crap.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, okay, so maybe what you've learned here is that maybe you can have your free profile without it being verified and having your license number there. Because I'm pretty sure that's what I have going. And it sounds like that's what you have going.
Well, I literally just don't pay attention to them. Just have everything on Google as well.
Yeah, Google's a lot easier.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask, is there a way where I could have it put in on the review on Google and then it just be posted everywhere? Okay.
No, and unfortunately, I wish that were the case, but unfortunately, that's one of the benefits to Zillow is however it is they're running things. I think there's something that they're allowing in the background for our KV Core websites to connect up and for them to appear there, right? But as far as I know, Google and realtor.com and all of those don't have that capability. And so obviously I'm not a fan of Zillow either, but I bring this up because they are easy to tie our reviews to, and then they show on our website.
Is Zillow, what is the best review site that a lot of consumers use? Is it Zillow?
Zillow is one of them. Yeah.
What's number one though?
I don't know. I haven't seen an article on that recently, and it might change.
Okay.
What I've kind of gathered is it's our websites, because when like say like we'll use this as an example, Joanne yesterday, right? Like obviously she found our office and then messaged the office through Google. But as a different example or comparable, you call her, right? And she might be like, well, who is this Jennifer Bacavicita? So then she Googles you, and then we'll take a look. And that's where your website should be one of the first ones that would come up. So she would hopefully go to your website and see it there. Or that's where like Zillow, Realtor.com, those ones come up too. And so that's why those are kind of the top sites to have your reviews on, are your website, Zillow, and Realtor.com.
Okay.
And people they're out there using Zillow and Realtor to just look for homes and find agents too, you know? So that's why I say those are good places. But you don't necessarily have to use Zillow either. You could just input them yourself. As far as Google out there, I don't know, because see, the thing is people don't usually Google, like when they're Googling real estate agents, they're looking for your website or a profile. They're not necessarily going to go to your Google profile. Does that make sense? People that are on Google looking for real estate or whatever, they tend to end up at the office site or calling the office. So that's why I wouldn't say that getting reviews on Google, like you should still do it. Like it's really probably good to have several in every place, which is kind of what I've done over the years, just kind of by accident, because people would be on different places. But I would say probably the most beneficial ones are going to be your website, so Zillow, or manually inputting them, and then Zillow and Realtor.com.
Okay.
And obviously, if I hear anything different, I'll always let you know, because things are always changing. But... Okay. And Michael, if you ever want to talk about that more like offline, off the record in more detail, we can.
Sure.
Okay, fourth, years of experience. Now that the market is rebalancing, sellers are returning to practices that appeal to buyers, such as staging, open houses, home inspections, and more. That makes it strategic for agents to promote their years of industry experience, credentials, and more. Part of what builds trust between an agent and a consumer is knowing that the agent has experience and a proven track record navigating a variety of market conditions, Lee says. The report cites that 52% of U.S. sellers need the most help with pricing their home, which is just one area where expertise of an agent is imperative. And so since both of you are newer to the business, I want to remind you that you can always add my years of experience to conversations when you're talking about it, or you can always say, you know, our team in the office has, and then you could add up everybody. And if you want that number, I could find it for you. I could add it up so you have it. So you don't have to feel like, oh gosh, I'm new in the market, I don't have very many years of experience. You can say, well, my managing broker and I have this many years of experience, or our team at Remax City Professionals has this many years of experience. And you could have that in your marketing pieces too, that you're using and handing out. Okay, and then number 5 is fastest service. Today's consumers are also seeking an agent who can help their transaction go quickly and smoothly. Agents are especially valuable when they're well connected and have trustworthy recommendations for adjacent services. A good agent will have recommendations in place for lenders, home inspectors, a title company, and more. Consumers need an agent who has everything in play. Helping with these services means I can move a transaction along much faster than a seller who's trying to list their home with a less connected agent. And I would say, I had thought they were going to be talking about quick to respond and all that, because I really feel like that's a big piece of it too. Like, I'm glad you were able to call and connect with Joanne, because between her initial message and me getting back and having to ask for her cell phone number and getting it, and then texting people, it's like, I was just thinking, God, it's been I hope she hasn't called another office and already reached somebody, you know. So I'm glad you're able to connect with her. Not everyone needs an answer right away, but there are some, because I know our offices run into that, where in the time it takes me to get an agent to say yes and call them back, they're like, oh, I just called so-and-so, you know, and then I already got help. So speed of our service is important too. So anything else about those 5 factors that consumers consider when choosing a real estate agent? Okay, we'll move on to 7 ways to create name recognition with no budget. I think this is a good one. This is by Daryl Davis. And he says, when you're starting out with your real estate business, everything feels like a challenge sometimes. Building your brand is no different. Even with all the resources available to you, it's not easy. Building a brand with little to no budget feels almost impossible. When I started in this business, I was 19 with little to my name, not a whole lot of faith in myself, and certainly not a stash of cash. What I did have was time, a belief in our industry, and a commitment to helping as many people as I could. In my head and heart, I knew that was the foundation for a career. As your business grows, your budget will as well. Until then, let's look at some things you can do to help you build a brand, cultivate customer and community relationships, and initiate influence in your market area. So 7 ideas. Number 1, door knocking. Not every agent is a fan, and that's good news for you, right? Because then there's less competition out there. Door knocking takes work, time, and courage. It's not easy for some people to knock on a door and introduce themselves. Remember to practice door knocking in a safe and organized way. When you come from a place of service and decide to commit an afternoon to walk your farm, you might be surprised by the results. One of our coaching members did this recently and came away with 4 listing appointments. And then what I like here is he's got some scripts. Introduction option 1. Hi, my name is blank. This is the community I serve, and I just wanted to introduce myself and let you know that I'm here to serve you. Like this would be a good one for a neighborhood that you live in, right? Or that you live next to. Oh, I live in the area, right? Because then you can say, I live in the area and I just want to introduce myself and let you know I'm here to help you. Introduction option 2. Market changes have spurred a lot of questions about home value, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have and provide you with a market analysis if you like. I care about this community and all of its homeowners. What do you need? How can I help? I feel like that one's a little wordy, like maybe it would need to be customized to how you want to say it. But I think at least you get the idea, right? Because the idea is that you're offering something of value. And I think both of you have probably heard it from me before, but I just want to say it again since we're talking about door knocking. You got to remember, you really don't have anything to lose when you're out there, right? We are here to help. We have information that we can share. So I think as long as we go out there with that mindset that we have information to share, we're trying to help, then still some people are going to slam the door, not answer the door, react negatively, whatever, but just try to keep the positive mindset that you're there to help them. And you will pick up business. Because I think I've told you both, it's one of the ways I survived the recession was door knocking. I picked up both buyers and sellers that way. Okay, number 2, sphere of influence calls. These could be easier than door knocking. It costs you nothing extra to contact the people that already know you, trust you, and would do business with you. From past clients to friends to family, now is the time to reach out with phone calls to let people know that markets are shifting and that you are there for them. The conversation might sound something like this. Hi, it's Daryl Davis. How are you? I just wanted to take a minute to call and see how you're doing. There's so much change in the market, which has a lot of people asking what that change means for them, for their real estate investments, and their buying and selling power. If you have any of those questions, or if there's anything I can do for you during these crazy times, I'm here to help. Again, I feel like his script is a little wordy. It's definitely not me, but at least it can give you some ideas on how you could tweak it and make it your own, right? I would definitely, he doesn't say so, but ask him how they're doing and talk about personal stuff and then get into kind of the business and real estate. So it'll more naturally flow. But the idea again is to just become top of mind with them, because the more top of mind that you are with them, the more likely they are to refer people to you when they hear of someone talking about moving, buying, or selling, right? And these are people that already know you, so it should be easy. It's a warm way rather than cold like door knocking, you know? He says, then let the conversation unfold. You're not calling to get an appointment. You're calling to cultivate connection, build relationships, and let people know you're at their service. That will go a long way to establishing your reputation and making you memorable. And the added bonus will be the extra business it will produce. Number 3, market presence. I love when I see agents getting out and about in the markets. From the agent who spotlights local restaurants in social media live videos or posts to the one in Starbucks with an Ask Me About Real Estate sticker on their laptop. Other agents always wear their name tags and get stopped by a stranger in the grocery store with a question. And then many agents take part in local events such as park days, 5Ks, or school spring festivals. These agents get that they are their brand. I mean, a lot of times just our little balloon will work too, because remember, over 85% of people know what the Remax balloon is. And I like it because then it's nice and small. Local, which I guess is less obvious, but for me, I don't know, my hair is always getting caught in the name badge. Local restaurants and business owners will appreciate the gesture and often return the favor. So they're talking about doing a video, at a local business. Local coffee shops are a great part-time office with foot traffic. Wearing your name badge gives you brand recognition anywhere you go. Participating in and supporting local events and schools creates an inside track that can help you expedite your brand awareness. Get out there, let people see your face, get to know your name, and connect the dots that you are the real estate resource to contact. When I reviewed this before this, Jen, I was just like laughing to myself. I'm like, we just talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
And then here it is again. And so it's like, I agree with it. And here it is with the longtime trainer too. It's about getting out and about and just being ourselves, and then business will come. Number 4, digital farming. I love Facebook farming. Facebook farming is free, sets you up as an expert and service-minded professional, and helps to make you a local hero. Here's how it works. Find the community page of the farm area you're marketing to. For example, I live in Wading River, New York. There's a Wading River Shoreham Facebook group that I belong to. Just like there is probably a fill in your community name Facebook group that you can belong to. Search for it, join it. Then take 10 to 15 minutes every morning or evening or when it's convenient for you and participate in it. Someone's dog is missing, offer to help. Someone needs the number for a trusted plumber, landscaper, or whatever, share your sources. Someone's kid is having a lemonade stand, head over and buy the whole pitcher's worth. My rule of thumb is that for every 6 to 8 shares, help you offer and social posts you do, you can share something about real estate. Don't flood it with new listings or sales, but instead offer items of value like a neighborhood market report, over the phone market analysis, buying guide, or selling guide. So I know they're out there. There's an agent, and I'm not going to credit his brand for him, but he is very active in the Federal Way community. There's a Federal Way huge group page, and he is constantly doing stuff on there. He's got it down very well. And of course, I don't know how it's really going for his business, but I would assume pretty good. Open houses is number 5. So we're all familiar with this one. The proven real estate marketing method, or this proven real estate marketing method, is more valuable than ever. One of our coaching members, Joanne Mills, likened open houses to auditions, a chance to make a positive impression on potential buyers and sellers and get noticed in a neighborhood farm. It's a staple in her marketing plan, and even as a top producer, she still loves to host them herself. I always recommend doing 2 versions. And this is where I agree that having 2 versions could be good, but I'm not necessarily a real fan. One for the neighbors, for which you would send a more formal type invitation and assure neighbors that the owner won't be home and you'll be there to present and answer any questions. This is a great way to weed out the lookers and nosy neighbors, and more importantly, a chance to connect with those in the neighborhood who may be considering selling themselves and offering a free seller's guide or market analysis or both. So that is the advantage to holding 2. And so what I've heard some people do is, because we're limited to having a public open house for 3 hours, right, is that maybe you advertise and you promote to the public the last 2 hours, but then in a more private way through postcards cards or a flyer some way, if, you know, it depends on if soliciting is allowed in the neighborhood, right? But that first hour could just be for neighbors. And I do agree that then it allows you to focus on those from the community that might be considering selling. So instead of, you know, like I think I've talked to both of you, when you're doing an open house, it's kind of like a flow chart, right? Of like, okay, what brought them in here? And if you know, okay, what are they doing? Are they a buyer seller? And then you split it off from there, right? So it can be easier to kind of divide it up that way. I just kind of feel like it's also a little limiting is all. For the community open house, be sure to have lots of signage, schedule your times to be different than every other open house, and consider teaming up with another agency and create an elevated experience for visitors. And number 6, community outreach. One very powerful way to get connected in your community is to get involved in charitable work. It provides a terrific opportunity to network with others, be active in your area in a positive and visible way, and even support your cause by donating a set fee or percentage of your commission for every transaction. So there's lots of ways to get involved in the community, schools, etc. Like I was just telling Jen yesterday, I've always done a lot of community service and it's been a huge source of business for me over the years. And it's not like I talk real estate. I don't try to even bring it up. I don't hand out business cards or anything. It's just nice because you can just be yourself, do something you enjoy, do something charitable, and then people just get to know you over that and then like you and want to work with you. So it's a nice way to not have to worry about selling necessarily, and you're doing something good for the community. Number 7, letters. While not zero budget, letters are an inexpensive yet effective way to warm what would otherwise be cold calls. When done in small batches, the cost is minimal, and with the right follow-up, the rewards can be high. Consider checking your MLS for expireds every morning and sending letters to those homeowners 3 mornings a week. Then schedule a time to follow up on those letters 3 days later. You can also send an introduction letter to the people in your farm area. Instead of sending to all, say 400 in a community, send just 20 at a time so that you can follow up. It would be the same with sending handwritten notes to your sphere. One key to managing direct mail results is following up. A mistake many agents make is sending one piece of mail to thousands at once with no ability or plan to follow up after. One and done doesn't work. It never has. Instead, when your budget is low, consider small batch mailings and calendar your follow-up calls. You'll see far more results that way with a minimal output of cash. So I know I've said that before, picking a smaller farm area or neighborhood to focus on, but then doing it consistently. They say every 3 weeks or at least once a month at a minimum. So you're not wasting your money. And so then Daryl's personal note here is, I've been coaching and training agents for more than 30 years, and I've always taught that agents shouldn't spend money they can't afford to, especially early on. I understand the concept of you have to spend money to make money, and I completely agree that it takes an investment of both time and money when you're growing your business to each new level. I also believe that there are so many ways, like the 7 above, to generate new business and spur growth without breaking the bank. Get creative with your ideas, get courageous with your prospecting, and be consistent in your approach to building and branding. So hopefully that helps maybe solidify some ideas, because I feel like we've already talked about a lot of these, but I think it can maybe be helpful for you to hear it from someone else besides just me too, right?
Mhm.
Does this give you any specific ideas of things you might try to do over the next month? Which one were you pointing to? The letters?
Yeah, I've heard of people doing handwritten letters.
Mm-hmm.
That's cheaper. Can they read my handwriting though?
Oh, yeah. They wouldn't be able to read mine. I do handwritten cards and they're very legible.
And then also back to the open houses.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I do not do with the last 2 open houses was farm the area and personally invite everyone.
That can really help increase attendance and just awareness.
Yeah. So yeah, that's back on my radar.
Yeah, so not that it needs to be done every time, but especially like if you're slow and you don't have a lot going on, then you might as well try to schedule it out and arrange it to where you're door knocking the day before or 2 days before to personally invite them to the open house.
Mhm.
And or if they can't come, well, then they've got your information and can call you back, or you're having a conversation with them in person. So it's just another way to get out there and in front of people. And I know some agents have picked their open houses based on the neighborhood or area and is it walkable, solicitable, right? Because like some neighborhoods don't allow soliciting.
Oh, communities.
Yeah. Because definitely for sure, if there's a sign in front that there's no soliciting, then you don't want to be doing it at all. Just get a lot of angry people.
Yeah.
So some agents will pick their open house based on that. Like if they have options, right? Like we don't really have so many options these days. But like if you've got a choice of 2 or 3 and you know one allows soliciting and you're not sure about the others, and it might be good to go with the one where you know you could walk it if you've got time and want to do that.
Hmm.
What do you think?
Speed croquet.
Speed croquet.
Yeah. And like with the school district, like every year they do this thing with through some kind of charitable organization here in Federal Way. They get together and have a picnic and they do like the speed croquet tournament out at one of the schools.
Oh, well, I hadn't even heard of that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You have now.
Yeah, I guess I have now. Well, so one of the things that they say that we can do is, you know, just either volunteer to help out with those events. So you're like on a committee getting to know people, or to sponsor them. So you get your name on a banner or on the flyers or whatever, you know.
Exactly. Instead of just playing speed croquet.
Yes, although that would be good too, because you'd be
It's
out
fun.
meeting people.
Right.
But yeah, so that's why I throw these things out, is just to kind of make sure you're aware of how you can kind of take advantage of things and use them as advertising opportunities. Because especially with you and having connections in school, that's huge. There's
Yeah.
probably lots of different things you could do.
Yeah. Thinking Little League baseball too.
Mhm.
Softball.
Yes. Because then you can be a sponsor and get on the back of the t-shirts.
Yeah. And I don't have to pay a company $500 to do it.
500.
Yeah, I had somebody call me and said, hey, we're a marketing company. Marketing for like Little League. You can put your name on a sign or something for $300. What? No way. How about 500? We're like, what?
Yeah. Well, lots of us get calls to like sponsor whatever, I don't know, like scorecards at golf courses or this and that. Or like to be on shopping carts or on the sign where the disinfectant is at grocery stores.
Yeah.
I just don't know that any of that is really effective. And like what I have read, so more factual, is that those things are like grocery store stuff is good just for like name brand recognition, but it doesn't usually really like get you more calls or more business. And it would be a long-term thing. Like it would maybe benefit you to be doing it for years, you know? So I just say that, so in case you guys get those calls too, you kind of know where I stand. And you can always call or text. Oh, well, you can always call or text. Yeah. Okay. But if there's ever one that intrigues you, feel free to call or text me. Say, hey, I just heard about this. What do you think? I'll tell you. Okay, speed croquet. Move on to the third topic. Our final one for today is be prepared for bad news and learn how to deliver it to clients. This is by Eric Bramlett, and this is from May 2nd. As real estate agents, we're in the position of delivering some of the best news of our clients' lives. Buying or selling a home is a major life event, one that our clients often remember alongside weddings, births, and big promotions. Yet, because it feels so good to deliver good news, agents often really dread delivering bad news. By preparing for bad news before it ever happens and educating the client every step of the way, bad news does not have to derail the transaction, and your clients can have a better experience overall. So first, educate and set expectations before bad news ever happens. The most critical facet to delivering bad news is to first educate your clients on the possibility of bad news before it ever happens and expectations set with them from the beginning. You guys have probably realized that as you've worked with me, that's always what I'm trying to do with you too in your transactions or just stuff in the office or within the industries. I'm always trying to help you learn what to expect, right? Helps people feel more at ease with the process. Do you know that your seller's home has a 15-year-old HVAC system? Make sure they understand that it's likely to inspect poorly. Or at least, at the very least, I would ask them to get it serviced and checked and repairs made, and so then you can include that invoice in the supplemental documents, and then that'll head off just concerned buyers right there.
Yeah, I actually just came up last night.
Oh,
At the very least, I want them to have it inspected and get a quote of how much it would cost to repair it.
Oh yeah, because I think you said the AC was out, right? Yeah. Yep. That is what's best. But again, because it can be hard, because I know I've received feedback myself and I've heard it from other agents. Unfortunately, some sellers do base their decision based on the advice and feedback we get. So I always try to provide it, but then leave it open rather than I want to just make sure I'm not coming across too strong, if that makes sense. So I'll say things like, well, it's a best practice, or we can attract more buyers, that sort of stuff. And then I let them decide what they're going to do, right? So then they don't feel like, well, Jennifer wants me to do this and I don't really want to do that, so I'm going to pick a different agent, because they will do that. Did your buyers win a multiple offer scenario and offer a price that current comparables can't support? Make sure they understand that the appraisal will likely be a problem. So those are just two examples of things. While it's impossible to predict every possible problem that could occur, and it's inadvisable to make your clients lose sleep over low likelihood scenarios, it's critical to educate your clients on common and likely problems and set their expectations out of how likely it is for those to occur. Bad news doesn't age well, so don't delay. Because it's no fun to deliver bad news, many agents will wait until the last minute, hoping against hope that the bad news doesn't materialize. This is counterproductive because it injects more stress into the situation for your clients. Now you're delivering bad news under duress, creating a tight window for your clients to make a decision. It's much better to deliver bad news as soon as you know it might happen, no matter how small the likelihood. This allows your clients to start planning in case it does happen and thinking through their thoughts and feelings. And if it doesn't happen, you've shown yourself to be a transparent and strategic agent and built further trust between you and your clients. And I feel like that's one of the best benefits, to all of this. It's also important to deliver bad news over the phone. Many clients prefer to schedule calls, so let them know the headline of what you'll discuss when you set up a time to chat. For instance, I need to chat for 15 to 30 minutes. We have some bad news concerning the inspection. Delivering a top-line summary beforehand helps them prepare for the discussion and reduces anxiety. As well, it's best not to be ambiguous in the discussion and tell it straight so that you can come to the best solution in a timely manner. Having empathy is critical for how this impacts their lives, but everyone is better served in the long run with all the facts on the table.
Sorry, I had this issue with the last one.
Oh. Yeah, delaying bad news can usually just make it go worse. Keep things in perspective. It's crucial for agents to shift their personal perspectives on bad news before they ever call their clients. This will help the agent stay calm and in control of the conversation while delivering the news with confidence. While your client may view bad news with devastation, you can be prepared to show sympathy and offer up next steps fast. Consider the workday of a cardiologist or oncologist. Every day they deliver truly bad news to patients. Yet in our line of work, everything is correctable. We can find another house, find another buyer, or work through the problem in some other way with our clients. And that's a good way to put it into perspective, right? Act with confidence during common scenarios. While bad news sometimes happens, especially since many things are out of an agent's control, there are common scenarios such as bad inspections, losing out on an offer, buyers terminating, and delayed closings for which you can prepare due to their frequency. By committing to empathy education, and solid second and third options, you can ensure your clients feel confident in how you all proceed towards success. So like definitely for sure, one of the things I don't ever delay on is if I'm representing a seller and I think that there's going to be a delay in closing. It's always better to let the seller know as soon as possible so they can start planning for it.
So I need to tell my clients about the septic thing.
Okay.
Hmm.
So anything else? Did you find this helpful? Okay, I'll go ahead and stop the recording.